We got a good workout today. I'm going to do a pretty difficult one. We're going to start with I think this start will take like 8 to 10 minutes. We're going to be in a very wide stance, really wide, pretty powerful, like you're riding an extremely fat horse. And the goal here is going to be a wide decompression. So typically with foundation training, what you're used to is this tight inward decompression position, this inward anchor where the hips are really close. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it from as wide as we can. Now, here's one thing I want you to pay attention to. Notice that I'm in a wide stance. My feet are facing forward like I'm about to do a founder. But what's not happening is my knees aren't caving in. That's big. So many people stand in a wide position with the medial midline of the knee just taking way too much force. So while we're in this position, plant the heel, plant the outside edge of the foot, and allow the knees to lean towards the outside of the foot. Once you're in that position, begin from the outside edges of the feet, squeezing inward. Now that inward squeeze never collapses the knees. It's a draw from the perimeter of the foot and the midline musculature of the legs pulling towards the center of the pelvis, not pulling towards the middle of the knees. So up towards the center of the pelvis. Now I'm going to turn profile so you can see that I'm not in a hinge here. All right, I'm standing vertical, as tall as I can with my feet like calipers closing into the ground. I'm pulling my chin back like I'm trying to press the top of my head far, far away from me. Think of a superhero flying faster. And then I'm just bringing my arms directly in front of me. So this is a hinge. We're not doing that. We're drawing the pelvis kind of down towards the feet to reciprocate that upward arc pull from the bottom of the feet, the bottom of the arches towards the pelvis. Like there's a tether at the arch and the pelvis that are pulling towards each other. And you're getting both of those on each side to engage. Now, here's the difficult part. We're going to be here for approximately 25 breaths. And every one of those breaths is going to be very deliberate. You're going to be breathing into the expanse of your rib cage, and you're going to be breathing out of the lowest part of the abdomen, below the belly button, right where the transversus abdominis and rectus abdominis converge into the pelvic structure. And we're going to breathe out of that low, low, low tension point. So without further ado, take a deep breath, plant your feet, imagine a pair of calipers closing down on the ground with the outside edges of the feet being the primary pressure points and the big toe just gripping. Take the arms ahead of you in a sphere of tension. Draw the elbows towards each other so that your lats engage. Keep the sternum big. Lift the back of the skull. We're going to go 25 breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Inflate the ribs. Press the chest and head up. Deflate the low abdomen. Inflate the ribs. Deflate the low abdomen. Keep going. Inflate the ribs. Deflate the low abdomen. Don't lean into it. Keep yourself upright, pulling the legs towards each other. Inhale through the nose to the back of the ribs. Exhale through the low, low belly. As well as you can, as slow as you can, inflate the ribs through the nose. Exhale through the low belly, slow and strong. One more just like that, slow and strong. Inflate. And exhale. Let's start to ramp up the intensity a little bit. For the next 5 breaths, we're going to inflate hard, deflate slow, but pursing the lips so it's a little bit resisted. So inflate big, like you're about to whistle, but you're stopping it. Stop the, I did it too well. Stop the airflow. Inflate, deflate. Find that muscle contraction that forces the air out as you resist the airflow. Inflate through the nose, into the ribs, Deflate through the low abdomen through tight lips. Caliper close those legs together. Make the perimeter of the foot broad and the back of the skull as tall as you can. You should be getting a little shaky in this if you're doing it right. Inflate through the nose. As you exhale through the low belly, purse your lips. Inflate through the nose. As you exhale, tighten the lips a little bit more. Really resist the air. Force the air out through the abdominal muscles. Inflate through the nose. Exhale, relaxed through the mouth. Inflate the nose. Exhale, relaxed through the mouth. Let the hands come down, but turn the thumbs away from each other. You're still very active. The shoulders are wide and spread. Your shoulder blades are not pushing your chest forward. The shoulder blades are wide. The back of the ribs are big. You're planting your feet in that same wide stance. We're just holding a standing decompression in a long wing position, which means there's a subtle bend in the elbows. The shoulders are active. The chest is broad. The back is broad. And you're just, again, breathing in through the ribs, breathing out through the low belly as you tighten the legs as they pull against the ground. Every time you exhale for the next 10 breaths, you're going to tighten those calipers that are closing. And remember, when they tighten, you're pressing the outside edge of the feet into the ground. You're not rolling into the inside edge in that kind of weaker position. So without further ado, 10 more breaths, wide, powerful stance, 3 points of contact on the feet. We're in a long wing position now, and we're not pressing the chest forward. We're pulling the upper ribs back. Take a giant deep breath through the nose. Squeeze the legs. In through the nose. Squeeze the legs. 8 more. Five more. Slow down the exhale, but keep the intensity of the inhale through the nose, expanding the ribs. Squeeze the legs, powerful hips. Three more breaths, slower, slower, slower on the exhale. Two more. Close the legs from the outside edges of the heels and the big toe. Last one, take a giant deep breath. And as you exhale, as slow as you can, we're going to draw the hips back into our first founder. Weight through the heels. Now we are fully in that hip hinge. We're looking for the back of the body, the low back, the hamstrings, the glute muscles, to be transferring force down through the feet at the heel, the pinky toe joint, and the big toe joint. Feel that tripod of pressure. And then feel the reciprocation of lift from those same exact points through the larger muscles that surround the thigh and surround the hip. That transfer is a back and forth. It's a communication. It's a discussion. We want to have as little interruption as possible and as much strength as we can find. So with the heels into the ground, the big toes reaching, draw the hips and hands away from each other pretty far. Don't go 90 degrees. It's hard for me to do this. If you can do this, you're not doing it right. Lift the back of the ribs behind you. Grab the ground with the floor in the same way you just were, closing a pair of calipers like you're trying to wrinkle the ground. Get as big as you can in the back of the ribs. Get your lats to fire like you're pinching paper at the armpits, or I like to say you're holding a heavy textbook at the armpits, so you really got to focus. Pull the back of the neck long. We're going to go 10 forceful breaths here. Every time you inhale, you're pressing the feet into the ground like you're trying to push the ground an inch away from you. Every time you exhale, just hold it. So inhale through the nose, push down. Exhale, push down a little harder. Inhale, push down. Exhale, push a little harder. Start to pull the hips back another couple inches. Close the legs into the ground. Inhale to the back of the ribs. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, slow. 2 more. Inhale, slow. Exhale, slow. 1 more. If this feels really difficult, it's time to step out of it, and that's okay. But if you want to challenge yourself a little bit, do what I do here. I'm going to take myself into a forward fold for the next kind of finish of this exercise. So a forward fold is a continuation of the founder, meaning my hip joints are just pulling away from my limbs. My feet are sticking in the ground. My hands are reaching away from the hips. My low back is strong, and my upper back pulls away from the ground as my hands reach down. You'll notice I'm leaning back into my heels a little bit. I want you to feel like you're almost falling backwards as you reach your hands away from you, digging them into the ground. We're going to be in this position for a handful of breaths. As easy as you can be here, but make it active, meaning you're actively pulling your hips behind you as far as they can go the entire time. This is not a straight leg exercise. You got a legit knee bend, and your weight is behind your heels, being held by the muscles on the back of you. The hands are reaching away, the upper back is stretching, and just breathe into the stretch you feel at the back of the rib cage. Let your head hang a little bit, and just pull your hips away from your hands. Pull, pull, pull. As you inhale, try to stretch the back of the ribs towards the ceiling. As you exhale, try to not just pull your belly away from your waistband, but pull the belly away from your waistband and pull the hips behind you at the same time. Inhale, back of the ribs. Exhale, pull the hips behind you. Inhale to the back of the ribs. Exhale, pull the hips behind you. Reach the hands a little further forward. We got 2 more breaths. Inhale. Let the neck hang, let the head hang, let the back of the neck get long. Pull the hips back, reach the back of the ribs to the ceiling. 1 more breath. Press the hands to the shins hard so that it presses your chest up, and pull your nose away from the ground. Press your heels into the ground and slide your hands to the middle of your thigh. Turn your palms away from center. Reach the hips and hands away from each other for about 10 seconds in a founder. Take a big, deep breath in. And as you exhale, let everything go. Relax a little bit. Everybody earned about a minute rest if you did that. Well done. Take the rest.